Hello, friends. It's so nice to be with you today. Well, let's take a look at the chart, shall we? I just wanted to hit on a couple of key things in this chart. One, talking about this flow of light from Christmas, and two, talking about this incredible deep blue space here and these square patterns. We are going to take a look now behind the numbers, and I'm going to explain what I see here to you. If you want to get a copy of this, I put it out on Twitter. I guess I could put a link to my Twitter or to this post in the down below. Yeah, I'll do that. That way, if you wanted to, download a copy of the image, you can, or just take a screenshot or whatever. Okay, so what's interesting here is the calm, right? Is the calmness. So what's also interesting is something on the chart that's hard to see. And I'm going to show you where that is. But first, let's take a quick look at the numbers here. The biggest thing that I noticed looking at the numerics behind the spectrogram was this right here. What you can see here is that all of the resonances have 1 as their lowest count on the right and left side, the keys, okay, here. And what that means is, as you can see right here, every resonance amplitude went to just about 1, okay? Very, very flat. Now, I've explained on other videos what this means, but let me just give you a thumbnail. The amplitude is like the energy, how strong this is coming through, okay? So if I had a fan seated right here on my desk and the fan was off, you could say it had, this is a metaphor, you could say it had an amplitude of 0, okay? Because I could see the fan, it's there, but I can't hear it or feel any air, okay? It's not on, but it is still physically present. That would be like an amplitude of 0. If you want more on that, look at my video from November 2016 that has the word reset in the title. Okay, now the amplitude of 1 would be like if I had the fan on its absolute lowest setting and it was just like barely moving, okay? A setting below what fans are, the first setting is usually at for fans. Now, if I turned it up and up and up and then up to its very highest, that would be increasing amplitudes, okay? So that's the example that I'm giving you here. Increased power and energy, the higher the amplitude goes. But then when it goes down to its very lowest low, it's barely felt or perceived at all. Okay, so that's what we have here between 0 and 8 hours on the chart from 1227. That's why it's so gorgeous, beautiful, and blue here. Now, what do you still have? This is the natural resonance. This is the natural frequency, of the planet. Okay, that's right there. Okay, about 7.83. Okay, so you see that? You see the heartbeat of Mother Earth and of us, as really as I've said before, our bodies are made of Mother Earth. Right? My body is the earth. It's made of all the components on this planet. Isn't that fascinating? Okay, now let's look at the frequencies. The most interesting thing here is that the red, everything's kind of laying low, but the red is in an extremely narrow range, okay? And the yellow, too, it's almost like everyone's waiting for something to happen. That's the feel there that I get. And let's see here. Here's the qualities. The qualities are like the clearness, okay? Now I'm going to switch to using an example of music. If I'm playing a music piece through a speaker system and I can hear it very clearly, then that would be an example, metaphorically, of like what a high quality would be if I could hear it so clear and beautiful. Okay, and just to give you an example here, 31 is a peak for the green resonance. It usually peaks at 31. Infrequently, it does go higher than that, and sometimes multiples higher. But so you could say that, and I view this as representing the human energy. Okay, so you could say that at this level, we're shining our best, sort of. If I'm playing that music piece and I can barely hear it, it would be a very, very low quality, or if it was distorted. Well, during that time that the amplitude went to 1, at first you had a peak, okay, in the green, but then everything just went down to very low numbers. Okay, now I know it looks like there were spikes here, but I think I'll do a separate video on how to read the line chart. This is essentially a similar result to this if you read but you have to know how to read the bar chart. I mean the line graph here. Okay, so let's go back to this image because I want to switch to talking about energy now. In my last video on the Christmas light, I talked about the concept of ascension, descension. Okay, I do think I mentioned that in the video about the higher light descending into the body and how I had seen a trend of that, and that was kind of interesting if you wanted to go back and listen to it if you haven't. There were some good links in there. And this idea of the Christmas star, it came to my awareness. Of course, people were talking about Saturn and Jupiter coming together and making this kind of a star image in the sky. And I talked about that and its effect in the Schumann in my solstice video about 3 or 4 back. It was really when the Schumann bot, when he tweeted about the Christmas star, that I really focused in on it. And so I thanked him for that. Because, I don't know, I guess because, of the Schumann, of him doing the Schumann charts regularly on Twitter, I just really brought it to my attention. And that's when I realized that a friend of mine had written an incredible piece on the star for 2020. And I'm going to link that. I linked it in the last video, but I'm going to link it again. And I'm going to also link the Schumann bot Twitter in case you guys want to check that out. But she wrote at the beginning of 2020, she did an intuitive reading called The Star. And she talked about the inspirations in 2020 in all aspects of life that we could have access to. And when the year capped with the star, I just thought, oh my gosh, she really nailed it. And if any of you guys want to go back and look at that article, I would recommend it because it's inspiring. And it's inspiring to take that concept into 2021. I don't know about you guys, but I actually have a really, really good feeling about this year. And let me show you what's behind the chart in energy that I referred to at the beginning of the video. This is so cool, you guys. Now, I've talked a little bit here about these lower hertz, okay? So here you've got 0 to 4. And I did quite a few videos just recently about these lower ranges because there was so much activity there. And that was part of the trend that resulted in the crest of this white resonance wave on the spectrogram image. But let me show you something here, okay? All right, now here's 0, okay? So let's see here. Let me just see if I can. Okay, so right here is 2 hertz, okay? That means that right about here is 1 hertz. And then right about here is half of a hertz. I know you're like, why is this important? Why are we looking at this little bitty micro thing? Well, because that's what I'm good at. I'm good at really bitty micro things and showing how they affect the whole. And part of that is because of the way that life and creation is built. Life and creation is built on repeating patterns. And they repeat from the most smallest level to the largest level. But Down here in the half a hertz or less, this is called the, I think it's the infra-low brainwaves. And I talked about this on another video, how these are linked with, well, what came through to me in the video was it's really about autonomic processes, okay? Autonomic processes. Basically, the function of the life force in our body that keeps us breathing, that keeps us, makes us think, that does all sorts of things, our heartbeats. And it's my view that this autonomic aspect results from the divine within us, okay? That it's the life force that emanates from the soul connection in the heart that is the true generator of the life force for our human form. And the reason that I think that, in part, is because I had a personal experience of that soul connection. And I talked about that in the video with the lion thumbnail. I'll link that below too. That was a cool personal story. And, I kind of can't believe I shared that way, but I did. Okay. So I've personally experienced that connection. I had this incredible awakening moment. But so what I feel is that the soul comes through, okay, and it ultimately is what's responsible for our beating heart, for the life that's in us. And what I feel here, okay, so what happens is, you see how there's colors here at the very lowest level now, okay? Now, normally this part of the chart is just dark, okay? It's dark like a deep sea, usually. Usually it's like this, okay? And usually there's at least 2 pixels worth. You can see it here, okay? That usually there's about 2 pixels worth. Actually, okay, you can see it here. Where there's no color, okay? And this white is coming from the line of the bar graph. So, excuse me, of the outer edge of the graph. So it's blending in with the color here in the image. Okay, so normally it's like this, but what has been happening, and I'm having a hard time finding just it being dark here. Do you see how these, ever since the Christmas star, all of the energies are emanating from like 0 to 0.5, okay? It's like they're emanating from there. What I'm trying to say is that when we got this Christmas light, okay? When we got I called it the crest of the awareness of the trend that had been building from late November through December. What I'm saying is that it came from the soul level, this Christ light. And I knew that when I made the other video, and I'd meant to put it in there, but I just didn't want the video to get too long. But I saw that. I mean, this is so important. I mean, when we have a white wave of energy in the chart, it doesn't normally come from this level where it is completely almost connected with through our infra-low. I mean, through the range of those brain waves, okay, that science doesn't really understand how they function. And another part of the brain waves where that's the case. But I'm just going to make this is as big as I can make. Look at this. The blue goes all the way, okay? The light blue here goes all the way. The white and gray goes all the way. The green goes all the way through to 0. I mean, it's incredible. What I'm saying is that, and I talked about how the numbers created the size of this wave. Okay, I'm sorry for the noise, but I don't know how to turn that off. Okay, so I talked about how the numbers created the size of this and the shape of this wave, okay? But what's really, it didn't look as impactful as some of the very big waves, for example, that we've seen in May, okay, or June. But it was so impactful to our psyches. That's what I'm saying. That the energy that had built up, all the observations that we've been making that had come into our whole range of brain waves, it's like it's like this is straight, like from soul. Our soul seems to be, God through us seems to be deeply involved here. That's what I'm saying. And this is so impactful and so important. And even in these times, like as we're going on in the chart, now I know, here, I'll show you, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start after, okay, where the chart gets less, okay, I'm going to show you this. I can track this in my mind, but I just want to show you guys where we're at. Okay, so I'm going to pass these, and I'm going to go to here. Okay, so I'm going to start on the 25th. Okay, but look at this, okay? Look at that. Look how you're going into that deep into that infra-low. Even with these blue, okay, even usually the blue doesn't even go that far. It usually stops. But look at that, okay? This is huge, okay? The white, the green. I'm telling you that this period of time where we're at, now here you actually finally get it where it's dark. And to me, this isn't like black when I talk about black dots on the chart that are, you know, don't feel very good. This is more like the void, you know, like the connection with the creator, okay? But you see it going all through. Look again. Okay, now I'll show you where we are in the chart now. Now we're here at one of the squares, okay? See, I put calm, rest, and integration here. I really mean it. Like, we are basically kind of communing with God. We're communing with the divine that we are right now as a whole, like as humanity. And then we're getting this period of this is the period of rest where the amplitudes went almost to 0, okay? They went to 1. And, you know, it takes times like this to integrate what we've learned. You know, it's like a soul download for all of us. But then, okay, so look what happens as we get to today. You see it again here. See, look, the blue going all the way through the intra-low. Okay, here it is again. Okay, still happening. And this is today. Okay. Oh, that was yesterday. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm just going to skip to today because I don't know how long you want to see that. Okay, so here we go. Here's today. Okay, and okay, how I would read today is, okay, there we go. We've got it into the infra-low. We're getting it a little bit less today in the deepest, like closest to 0. But look what happened here, okay? Look at this bright line of awareness. And this is about at 1 hertz, okay? So it's like it made the leap from soul, and now it's seated in our, whatever this is, the downloads, the awareness, our connection with God, we've leveled up. It's seated deep in our unconscious and integrated, okay? We've integrated whatever this was about, okay, in our human lives. It's in us now. And now it can start kind of flowing out into the chart. But I think that just, you know, based on having seen this kind of a square pattern before, this seems to be after the rest, okay, the amplitude's going to 1, the new pattern seems to be, it's going to be squares. I don't know how long for. And that seems to be what we're doing. We're communing with the divine. The question is, what will that mean when we choose to act in the real world?